What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Own It. I'm your host, Samantha Warren. So stoked you're here. So today on the episode, we have an incredible human. His name is Logan Lepper. He is the founder of Authentic Exposure Studios, which is a podcast studio based in Austin, Texas. And I actually got connected to him through some mutual friends. And I actually had the pleasure of recording this episode in studio with him. It is so cool seeing somebody's vision come to life. Logan recently just had Matthew McConaughey in his studio and has had plenty of entrepreneurs that you would definitely know in his studio. It is so beautiful, so vibey, and I know that if I'm back in Austin, I will be recording there, so definitely go check it out. We talk on this episode about so many things, including letting your inner child kind of run the show and following what is lighting you up, as well as the creative path, the healing journey, entrepreneurship as the ultimate spiritual path, and so many more things. And so this episode was actually recorded almost a year ago, believe it or not. And I found it in my archives realizing, oh shit, we never released this episode. But when I re-listened to it, I realized this episode is so relevant right now. And I was like, well, we can't let this thing go to waste. This convo was so freaking good. And I texted Logan and I was like, yo, our show's coming out. I'm sorry it's a year later, but I promise it's so good. And when I sent it over to him, he was like, wow, the studio's changed so much. So kind of cool. It was like a snapshot in time of recording this almost a year ago now, and then releasing it a year later and seeing the studio change so much and all of the growth that he's had. He now has a physical product, a mic stand. So it's just super cool to have this experience be what it is. So I'm really excited for us to dive into the episode together. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I know you're going to love this one.
It's like, oh, do you like feel it coming, but it's not there yet?
Yeah. I got shot out of a rocket ship in 2025, so let's go. Let's just see what happens.
I'm excited. Well, I'm so glad you said yes to coming on the show and just messing around and seeing what happens. And I love your studio. I'm so happy to be filming and recording in your studio.
Thank you.
Okay, remind me, when did you start this?
So it's easy to remember. I literally moved in February 2020, the start of COVID.
Okay. All right, so like almost 5 years.
Yeah.
I had a 5-year anniversary.
Probably not. I don't know. I got 2 kids. I got like.
If I was Austin, I would throw you a party because that's a big deal.
Yeah. Maybe I'll throw. Yeah. I mean, now that you bring it up, maybe I should do a little something.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big deal, but
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah. I guess I'm just coming up on it at the end of next month.
yeah.
I didn't
When you're in it too, you also
You don't even think about it.
No.
Yeah.
No, you should 100% do it.
And maybe I will. I've had a lot of people come through here now, so I could definitely have some fun with it on the invites.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny how so many people I talk to are like, oh yeah, I know Logan. Oh yeah, I've been here. I'm like, oh, is Austin?
Yeah, Angie's been here a few times. Yeah.
I was just with her yesterday. I was like, see, oh yeah, love him. Yeah, so great. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I feel like I got rocket launched into Austin and then just met all the cool people, and then I'm gonna leave. But I'm gonna come back. I really feel like I have to come back.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it here. I've been here, I don't know, 20 years-ish now.
Really?
Yeah.
That long? Damn.
Yeah.
How has it changed?
I say it's just a little town that's growing into a metropolitan city, and we're in the transition of that. And it's messy.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be. People are going to be upset that it's not the little Austin anymore, or, oh, it's losing its character, or, oh, this changed downtown. But, like, that's just part of change, part of growth, And if you can just kind of roll with it. Like, I also moved from Portland, where I saw that change happen about 10 years prior to Austin.
Portland,
Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I got to see, things got run out of certain areas and gentrification happened and things like that. But it allowed for other really cool neighborhood pockets to, like, pop up. And now I think that's what we're seeing here is, like, other cool areas are starting to evolve and change now, which I think is really cool. I think it's awesome getting, people say what they want about, like, Californians moving here or whatever, but break whoever. Like, I think it's a great melting pot. I think the more diversity we have, the better. I think the more intelligent minds we have here, the better.
Yeah.
I think there's still a great, like, Southern charm to Austin. I think people are still really kind here. I don't think you can move from another city or state and come here and, like, be a dickhead. Like, you have to conform to Austin's kindness, basically. And I think we're seeing that. And that's why it's such a like beacon of light. Like you said it yourself, you got here, it's just like, it just feels so light. Like even during COVID, it didn't feel like the energy didn't feel dark here.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's something special with Austin.
Yeah. It's cool. I feel like when you're saying about how it's changing, it's kind of like what's happening to you. It's not also happening to me. It's like when you start growing so much, like people have things to say and, oh, it wasn't the way it was, or because they're attached to the way things are. But I think it's kind of beautiful because it is messy. Yeah. Growth of anything is messy. And I can like kind of see it in Austin because I've been here a few times. This time I've been here for like 2 weeks, maybe even a little bit longer. And I just noticed like there's a lot of humans, traffic, driving compared to even like the street width. I'm like, whoa, some of these streets I'm driving down, I'm like, these look like little baby streets. Even though like they're not equipped to handle the amount of cars that are going out these streets. And you can kind of, I feel that like that expansive, like, I don't know, it kind of feels just like life is pulsing here.
Yeah, and I also feel like just sort of the practicality of like the logistics of the city, they're playing catch up a little bit because like such a boom happened here. And I don't get into politics so much, but I think city council was kind of like, oh, we don't want it to grow, so we're not going to do certain things because we don't want this to happen here. And it's like, come on, guys, it's going to happen regardless. So just like roll with it and start to expand. Yeah, and I think now they're realizing that, and so it's like playing catch up on, say, the roads or whatever. And
Yeah, for sure. I want to kind of talk with you because we talked like last week when I came and met you.
We should have just recorded that.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. But I'm like, I feel like we have to go back to that because there was so much juice there that we didn't get to like really go into because we only had like 20 minutes or whatever. But like, I feel like it's so cool to see like a physical space be born. The vision that you had is here. All the connections, all like kind of that like arc where you're like, okay, you're catching steam, and then it really catches and it grows. And then pair that with like your spiritual journey and your relationship and like so many other things also like deepening and expanding and all of that. And like let's just like, I want to just like talk about that generally. Like, how has that been for you? Because not knowing you that well, which I'm excited to get to know you more on this episode, but it's like, how has that been for you evolving so much? And I feel like in the last 12 months, having to be like rocket fuel.
It's crunchy. It's very crunchy. It's all the things. Like, I think, a big thing that my wife and I are going through right now is really allowing ourselves to feel the full spectrum of emotions and feelings. Like, you got to take the good with the bad, the ugly with the beautiful, and feel it all, and the joy and the sadness, and understand that when we're growing and evolving and changing, like, it's just not always going to be like light and rainbows all the time and everything's going to be awesome. And also we have 2 kids, so we're taking that into account of where our energy is going all the time. So yeah, it's a crunchy ride. Like, sometimes you feel like you're on a bullet train, and sometimes I feel like I'm getting dragged behind a horse. Like, it's wild. But I think that's the one thing that I've learned on my journey. I'm 42 now, and sometimes if I'm trying to beat myself up, I'm like, I just like figured it out so late, or I started so late. I wish I would have started earlier. But also, I'm like really happy with where my journey is at now. And I think that's the acceptance of just like having done it enough now. I feel like my spiritual journey has kind of been like 6 years. It's somewhat it has ran parallel to my career change, going from personal training to photographer to now this. Literally, it all happened like with one of my first like major spiritual experiences. So those first few years of it, like, you're just on a spiritual journey. I don't know what yours has been like, but like, you're just ripping apart all of these illusions and all of these identities that you thought you were, at least in my case. And specifically, I think sometimes that can be very it can be tough for males to really be honest with yourself about that. Like, what the fuck have I been doing? And where do I want to go from here? So it's like I'm ripping off all of these masks and these layers. And it's like, God, at some point I want to start like building my new self. Like, what does my higher self want? And, it's like when you finally reach that tipping point of like, okay, I think I ripped away those first like layers of the onion that were just like so painful, that now at least, okay, I understand what it's like to go through that. I know I'm going to go through it more. I know what's on the other side. And now I'm starting to like operate from a higher perspective. So the pain of it or the illusion of pain of it isn't nearly as bad as it was like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I do think the first like real awakening you have is it's obviously the most painful.
Yes.
You have it feels like you're gonna die and like there's no out. Right. And then like it starts to subside and then you have it again and you're like, oh, I've been here.
Yeah.
But then for me, at least, it took me like probably 5, 6, 10, I don't know how many versions of this happening for me to be like, oh, I'm going to be okay. Like, it's okay to be in the unknown. It's okay to not know. It's fine. Like with Guy and being reborn all the time. It's just once you have the awareness of it, you're like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, you have the awareness, you know you're going to be okay, and you're still reaching a new iteration and a new level of yourself you've never been before.
Yeah.
So it's that little bit of fear is still always going to be there. I think that's the other thing I realized too is I'm like, stop trying to run away from fear. It's just going to be there. Just deal with it and know that you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you, because I feel like this is, like this studio is such a cool, I don't know why for me, it's just so much more visceral when you had a physical space or a physical product, right? There's a lot more trust, I feel like, that goes into, okay, I have a space that people come to.
Yeah.
There's equipment, there's this, there's that. So how have you like navigated the fear? Because it, like you said, it never goes away. It's in the passenger seat forever, but you just continue to keep taking those actions. Like how have you put fear in the passenger seat and continue to keep driving?
I mean, I know this is going to sound cliche and simple, but it's like you just got to keep showing up.
Yeah.
Like just keep doing it. Like of course I could like beat myself up here there were times when say I didn't have these cameras or this particular equipment and I'm like scrambling to set up the podcast set the way I wanted. I have a lot more wires out. It's like messy. I used to have these like sound blankets that would be on the floor. It's just like not nearly as organized as it was now. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, these people are going to think I'm like such an amateur doing it. And then I realized like they're not even thinking about that. They're just coming in here to record their stuff. And like at that time also there weren't a bunch of podcast studios here yet. And so it's like, what do they even have it to compare to? Like, what am I doing? I'm comparing myself to like what it's, you know, we talked about this, like what I think step 15 should look like. And I'm at step 2. And I'm like somehow in this delusion of I should be at step 15 and that's what it should look like, you know? And so I think just like in our own journeys, I've done enough iterations of the studio now and I've gone through enough of the like internal embarrassment that I'm like, I don't even care anymore. Also, part of my spiritual journey is also getting to a place where recognizing like, honestly, none of this matters.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Like in the whole big scheme of things, in 10 years or 20 years or whenever I die, nobody's going to remember the Authentic Exposure Studio. It's not even going to be a memory for people. Like who fucking cares like about this, you know? Like ultimately, like, yeah, of course I need to run my business and make money, but it's like my family, my kids, my wife, like my journey, that's like the connections I make with people. Like that's what matters, you know? And I think once I was able to get out of that place of being so like focused and attached to the identity of what I needed to be for the studio or what the studio needed to be, I was able to just remain in the process of like, hey, just keep making it better, keep changing iterations, keep set designing it differently. And then I also looked at it like, I just get to be creative in here all the time. Like just be creative and not worry about the result. Like when it comes to any sort of art, it's like you don't want to think about the finished product. All the great artists don't think about what their painting should look like at the end. Yeah. They just paint until it's done.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that's what I'm doing here. I'm just continuing to paint the studio over and over and over again.
I love this. Okay, because this is like, I see entrepreneurship as art. Not many people do, but because they're so fixated on like a money goal or an outcome or I want to be famous or whatever the fuck. And I've been there. I've done that where you do attach to whatever that like the end result is that will become.
So you're not even in an result yet, because you're trying to kick it further down once you get there.
A desire breeds more desire.
Yeah.
Like it's just forever. But when I started rethinking about business and entrepreneurship as art, I feel like it got way more fun.
Yeah.
Because of exactly what you said. You go from what's the outcome, what's this result, to what's the process like? If I'm not enjoying the day-to-day, like what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, and I had a huge reality check last year.
the beginning of last year, where I had kind of been in circles where the emphasis was so much on money, like so much on money. And it's really easy to just kind of absorb that in your subconscious, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm behind more and more, and start focusing on the wrong thing and not the art and what you love doing.
Yeah.
And I totally got sidetracked. And then like maybe spring, summer of last year is really when I like came back and I was like, yo, this is me. I am doing shit my way. It's so much more about fun and creativity and art and community and connection. And like, that's my jam. And speaking and like having adult conversations like this, right? And that's when I felt like everything fucking exploded, because it was actually me doing the thing for me.
Right.
It's like I was doing my best for me, not to get the validation from the outside people, or not to get validated by the amount of money in my bank account or how well the business is like shit like that.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, obviously you keep tabs on that too, and it's important. And I feel like the joy and the fun in the process have to come first, or else the result will never feel good.
No, it never will. I think I'll paraphrase here, but I remember Rick Rubin in so many of his interviews in his books of just being like, an artist, you can't, when he's producing and the artist is producing and they're creating that together, it can't be about what it's going to be for the audience. The art isn't for the audience. The art is for you. And the second it is about you, you're going to create that best piece of art.
Yes.
And that's what's going to be released, and it's going to be accepted, and it's going to be loved because you created it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so I want to talk about that in the context of podcasting. Sure. You have podcasts. You've produced how many podcasts? Do you know?
I don't know, a lot.
You should figure out that metric. As a fun, like, to know.
And also producing, I feel like there's nuance and a bit of a scale to it, because it's like I've fully produced a few podcasts. I've, one-off produced tons, hundreds, if not thousands. I put on a liar's lunch. Yeah.
The Logan talk.
Yeah, I put a little touch on it on a few. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like I said, right before we hit record, I'm like, I'm not introing you. I don't want to intro you. I want to just get right into it, because I fucking hate listening to intros of podcasts of where that person is like, and today we have Logan. I'm like, just let me Google him if I care. Yeah. Like I just want to sit down, have a convo, pretend like we're not on a camera, on a mic, and just be authentic, like be whatever, and whatever that becomes is what it is. There is no outcome goal. And I started my business like that, and it's like kind of coming full circle to that now of, what if I just do this shit for me? Like, what if I ask you the questions I want to know, which is what I'm doing, and it's gotten so much more fun because, again, like you said, it's like you're less attached to the outcome. There's less attachment, and then the attachment just creates chaos.
I mean, attachment's the root of suffering, so.
Dude, I was so attached. Like, I feel like I went through, before I had my awakening, yes, but after it even, I went through the space of being so attached.
I mean, I still have to catch myself on where are my attachments, like, how am I doing? Like, it's funny you brought up last year kind of being your, you had a moment of, like, not doing it for yourself, or you were focused maybe too much on the money. Mine was similarly kind of, like, it was the beginning of last year where I was like, all right, I need to, like, it's, it's also tricky. I'm a husband, a father. I'm trying to provide for my children. So of course I'm going to think about money, and also how can I make sure that is not my sole focus on what I'm creating here. Yeah. So that was a little dicey for me. I think a lot of faith comes in at that point of like, okay, I need to pivot into what I want to do here. Stop thinking about just the dollars and the metrics of everything, and just start creating what I want to create. Yeah. And start doing it for me. Like, I love this studio. I love that I get to come in here all the time. I love my job. There was never a time, even when I'm dealing with the hours of data tracer, like, there could be far worse things that I could be doing. So I think just remaining focused on how do I create the best experience for people here is what gets me, like, really excited and keeps me in that, like, creative spirit.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's like having a strong why. Yeah. Like, for me, with this show, I've gone through so many versions of it, and I feel like the most important message that I'm here to either invite people like you on to talk about, or even just my own stories, is like the message of truth, whatever that means. It's like, what is actually true? Because there's been so many things that I've witnessed in the past 2 years that I'm like, no, like, that's either untrue,
manipulation. There's some sort of facades or masks, and it's like, what would it be like if we were to just be like naked, metaphorically naked, on the show? Like you were talking about taking off all the layers, and like I see it like you're in the closet and there's like cobwebs and you're just like ripping off all the shit, and it's like, okay, I feel like this can be so healing when people just hear what is in our brains. Not like, oh, this is what you need to do in order to grow a successful business. It's like, yes, but then you need to trust yourself. That's really what that is down to. And have faith, because I think that's a huge piece when you're talking about like being a father and obviously being a man and being hardwired to protect and provide. Like there is that like internal pressure for sure of like, okay, well, I have family, but I want to make sure that they're, taken care of. And it's like balancing that, I think, is the challenge.
It is. I think it's also recognizing it's probably never going to be balanced. At least that's what I came to, a conclusion on. That pressure got to me. I sort of had my first like burnout. I don't know. It was a few months ago that I finally took a solo trip by myself. I was like, I need a break.
Yeah.
Like I need a break from everything. I need to check out from my family for a few days. I need to get away from the CEO. And I realized once I got there, I went to Sedona. It was great. It was so nice. But yeah, I had built up this pressure inside of me that was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, sure, I need to provide for my family, but like, this is not the way it's going to get done. And yeah, it's one of those things like, it's funny you brought up truth, because I think about like, you could make the argument there's only a few like universal truths in the world or in our reality. And everything else, I like to say, is just your perspective at that moment or at that level of consciousness that you're at. Because whatever I think might be my truth now, maybe a year from now is not my truth, because I've changed, I've evolved, I've grown.
Or like a week from now.
Or like, yeah, literally like a week from now, like a challenge. So what really is truth, or your truth or my truth? It's just like, that's just your perspective at that time. And it's open to change.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing with me that I always have to challenge myself on. What am I telling myself is the actual truth here? What is what's reality? What's an illusion? What am I just what is my ego telling myself that I have to get done, or I have
to... Should I give you an example?
What's one lately? This is a side note. I don't really want to go into like the big thing that's been happening in my life, but
that's okay.
Okay, here's one. Like the studio, I'm sitting here going like, it needs to make X amount of dollars to make sure I'm good and everything's okay and my life expenses are taken care of.
Yep.
And the studio is self-sufficient, and then I can like focus my energy on saying to my product line that's coming out. And every time, and I've literally gotten to that number like twice, and I'm still like, wait, I need one more retainer client, or I need this. Like I'm always constantly kicking that goalpost down. It's like, well, why am I even telling myself that? Why am I giving myself this number? Like what is it about that number, or this like false reality that I'm making for myself that's, oh, I need $300,000 a year from this job, or whatever number people want to make up.
Sure.
It's like, you need to ask yourself, like, why is it that number? Why are you telling yourself that thing?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm always trying to just like question myself on any of my beliefs. I'm just like, why am I telling myself that?
Yeah. That's such a powerful question. Why? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why the number? I had that same realization because it's so easy to just pick, like, let's just go back to money for a second. It's so easy to pick just
arbitrary number. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I want to make $1 million. Okay. Great. Because it's an even number. Like, because it means something. Like, why?
Yeah.
What are you going to use $1 million for?
Yeah. No, what are you going to do when you hit that number, or what's like your plan with it?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I used to do that. And now I've stopped setting arbitrary goals. I'm like, okay, what's actually like the freedom number? What's the amount that is going to be everything I want, cover all life expenses, be able to invest in real estate, blah, 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 minimum. Okay, cool. That's the first goal. Then you start moving it out.
Yeah.
But it's like without the context and without actually going in. It's like you're just setting random ass goals and then disappointed that you don't hit them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
For me too, like lately I'm trying to focus more on like my energy and sort of, I call them my quantum goals of like, okay, I want to like be in joy all the time. I want to make sure I'm like emotionally grounded for my wife all the time. I want to make sure that I'm not projecting anything onto my kids all the time. Like, doing the best in those areas of my life. Like, even with the studio, I think about how I create it and the space that I set. Like, my goal is to have people like you or other people come in here and they say, like, this is the best studio I've been in. I love the energy here. I feel so safe here. I feel comfortable to have my conversations here. Like, those are the goals I like to like set now, as opposed to like, I want this monetary number coming through here.
Yeah. I love intangible goals.
Yeah.
They make me so happy. Like, I'm like, the external ones are great, but they don't feel like anything.
Yeah.
There's like,
there's no connection to like, there's just no feeling. Like, truthfully, one of my this is so funny to say. I don't know if you've noticed, but my studio is crystal gridded. And one of my favorite compliments is when somebody comes in here and actually notices that it's crystal grid.
wait, I didn't know.
Yeah, if you look up around, you can see a bunch of, like, there's one over there.
Oh, yeah.
There's one over there. So there's multiple grids in here that are crystal gridded that both my wife and I are trained in some esoteric, deep lineage training stuff. But
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
yeah, so I crystal gridded it, and I always like to see who notices and who mentions it and who's and then same with like my altar. Like, that's the thing. I love connecting. Like, you don't have to be spiritual. I love connecting on a spiritual level for sure. I love connecting on a practical level as well. Like, totally fine. But I am always curious to see who notices what when they walk in here.
That was the first thing I noticed when I walked in. I don't think you were in like the entrance area, but I said to Amy, I was like, oh my God, I love it so much. And I was like, wait, the vibes in here are so good.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know if I told you this. I think I told Amy this when she sat in your studio. But when I have been in Colorado, I was looking for a studio to record it. No, there was nothing. Like, there's probably 15 to 20 studios there, and I didn't find one. I haven't found one still that actually has good energy.
Yeah.
That's how I buy everything now.
Yeah.
And invest in like any like spaces, food, whatever. I'm like, what's the vibes? You know? And so yeah, you're inspiring me to
It's all vibes.
Yeah, it is. Cause like what how did we connect so fast? I like walked in your door and I was like, hey, we're gonna be friends. I'll be back into your car. It's just like that was always like resonance.
Yeah. I mean, this year was, I guess 20, but it's 25 now, but 24. I don't know if I mentioned this year when we were talking the other day, but another one of my goals was like, I really want to niche my way into female entrepreneurs, female thought leaders, female coaches, like just females in big spaces. And because I had gotten so many compliments from females coming here, they're like, I love this space. Like, you don't understand. Like, all these other studios are very masculine. It's no knock on them or anything, but like, I just knew there was something special that I had here, that I know how to create a space for the feminine. I know how to hold space for the feminine because I've done a lot of work with it. I do a lot of work with my wife. So to me, like, when somebody asked me, well, like, what are you trying to niche your way to? I was like, I want to create a space for feminine, powerful women to thrive in their podcasts here. Like, that's what I want. Yeah.
That's an amazing mission. Well, I think, did you design all this? Did like set design? Yeah, you are so good at set.
Thanks. Because I still have a moment where like, I recently changed this over, and literally it took me like a week until I was like, the first couple of days I was like, why the fuck did I change this? Why did I put these bookshelves in here? God damn it. I should have switched it. And then, a few people come in and they see that, they're like, oh, this looks really good. I'm like, okay, all right, I feel better now.
No,
It's got a little validation.
No, it's such a vibe. Okay, so I went to school. I don't know if I told you this. I went to undergrad and grad school for architecture. And so we were often, like, we didn't study interior design, but of course you have to think about the interior of a space, how it feels.
Yeah.
And that was what my thesis was on. It was all about the experience of a person and architecture. Like, how does a person correspond to a space? And how do you get a space to change a human's behavior?
Yeah.
And so in this, like, in here, I'm like, oh, I can chill. Like, you can just...
You can just be.
Yeah. And what you can be, you can speak way more clearly or have way more authentic combos and just, like, be yourself.
Yeah.
Whether that's, like, wild or calm or whatever you're feeling.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you've ever done, like, plant-based journeys, but, like, set and setting is so important. Yes. That's what I think is so important for podcast conversations as well, set and setting.
Yeah.
Like, I love that people come in here and like, their team can also just sit over there and be a part of it, but also not feel this like, it still feels like there's distance, you know? And I didn't realize that I sort of had this special place here until really last year when all the other kind of podcast studios started popping up, and they're great. They have rooms, they do their thing, whatever. But there's not this sort of just like openness to it. And that's what I love here, is that it's open. Now, yeah, I only have one room to record in. Maybe that limits me on like how many clients I could have coming through here. But I think it's something special that I'm willing to give up the like multiple room rentals to just have this like one special space.
Isn't it interesting how your business almost always is a reflection of you?
Like 100%.
If I didn't know you at all, I'd be like, okay, your core values are intimacy, beauty, peace, openness, like intentionality,
Harmony.
Yeah, like I like, bro, what? I don't even have to say anything to you, but it is cool because like that's a really rare thing I think to have as a man in business, to be able to like, I feel like hold both and be both.
I mean, that's where the spiritual journey comes in. Like,
how did that even unfold for you? I'm so curious. Like, really reclaiming your like healthy femininity.
where do I start?
Not like a mushmall, but like, you know.
Well, it honestly started with my wife, because my wife's a psychotherapist, and it was like years ago in like 2016, she kind of started getting the call to do more. And so she went to a big psychotherapy conference. That was when they were just starting to really say, hey, we need to reintroduce spirituality into this mind work. Like, it can't just be all mental. That people aren't getting anywhere with that.
Yeah.
And these are like the people that she really looked up to in her industry and her field. So she kind of started going down the rabbit hole of, well, I need to start getting training or energy work, or what is it? Like, what do I need to do? And, you know, she just followed the breadcrumbs, as I say, for her journey. And I started to see her shift. And
How did it show up in your perspective?
well, how did it show up in the beginning was that our relationship was struggling, because now all of a sudden she's starting to open up more to her spiritual essence. She's recognizing her ego more and understanding that more. Her language around like what's going on with her and what she wants to do and what her purpose is and what she wants to accomplish and what she is letting go of and things like that. So then this gap started to happen between me and my wife, and I could
So you was doing like more self-inquiry, and
I was still just like in the matrix, kind of, for lack of a better word, you know, and still in my ego very much. And so,
can I ask, like, on a granular level, like, what did that look like? Like, when you say like I was in my ego, like, what do you mean?
I was fighting against her change. And
did it feel like threatened to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It was totally threatening to my ego. And truthfully, in our work and our path, that there's a differentiation between the negative ego and the positive ego. So when I speak of this, it's more about my like, negative ego.
Sure.
Yeah, it felt very super threatening. I'm like, what's going on? She's changing. What's this? She doesn't want to, she doesn't want to drink with me anymore. She doesn't want to like smoke a joint with me anymore. Like, it's easy to bring up drugs and alcohol because that's just such a prominent thing at that time.
Yeah.
But that was just something that was shifting. Like, she was shifting into a larger, bigger, better version of herself. And my negative ego sitting there going, no, don't change. Don't do anything. Don't, like, this is our life. This is what we're doing. And I felt that gap. And I'd make the joke, I went into spirituality kicking and screaming, because all I knew is if I don't do something, this gap is going to continue to grow, and she's gone. Like, she's gone. It's that simple. So my first 2 years of really that self-development and my spiritual journey and diving into it was not fun. You know, I did not like it at all, but I just kept going because I'm like, I wasn't necessarily seeking something, but I knew something in me was missing.
What did that feel like?
Just an emptiness.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like everything felt gray, not colorful. That's just the best way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, everything was in HD, not 4K.
Yeah.
You know, and But then I got a taste of connecting to my spirit. And that's all, like, that's truly all it takes. Whether it's one out of body experience somebody has, or one mushroom experience, or a near life or near death experience, or a gradual, hey, I'm just going to grind this out for a bit until I feel something. Yeah. And that's what it was for me. I just had a few, whether it was like a healing session I went through or my own training that I went to, that I couldn't deny what I had connected to, what I had saw, what I had felt. And then that changed everything. Because, once you take the red pill, you can't go back.
Yeah. You're in it, baby.
You're in it.
You can't unknow.
Exactly.
Or unsee.
Yeah.
Do you ever... I had moments where I'm like, sometimes I think life would be so much easier if you didn't have all the...
Well, you think about the first Matrix, the guy who wants to go back into the Matrix, and it's like, yeah, you can't go back in. Yeah, like once you're out, yeah.
That sometimes, I don't feel this way as much anymore, but like, I don't know, there was a moment, I forget what the context was, but I was like, damn, Samantha, I wish I didn't have so much fucking awareness.
Yes.
But
Yeah, we could definitely, get into some discussions about that, the self-awareness and the critique and the like, oh, well, what about this perspective and that perspective of this? Say, we go here and pull out here. And I'm like, Jesus, can I chill for a second? I'll stand on like, oh my God, just fuck this shit. Yeah, I mean, the personal thing that I'm kind of going through, it's like looking at this one thing from like 4 different angles and 4 different people's perspectives. And I'm like, I need to like chill for a second.
Yeah. There is moments where I'm like, because, okay, so when my friend turned 30, I think I was in my late 20s. I think I was like 27 or 28. I went to his 30th birthday in Vegas. And I was just at that, like, I'm dabbling in personal growth. I was on a more so like a weight loss journey, actually, and like a health and fitness journey. And I'd become a personal trainer and I was helping people get fit. And so that felt really good to do. And so I wasn't drinking. I was like, no, I'm really focused on my health. Well, we go to Vegas, we go to like a pool party, and it was like 120 degrees. And I was like, okay, like I'll have a drink. It's not a huge deal. Like it's whatever. Well, pair the fact that I'm a small person, I'm like 5'1". It's 120 degrees out. There's a very nice pool, and Tiesto was playing at the school party. And have you ever been to a Vegas pool party?
I've not been to a Vegas pool party. Yep, obviously been to Vegas. Yeah, I can imagine.
So the drinks that you get are like $80. I'm not kidding. Literally $80. They're like a big gulp, but sometimes even bigger. And I swear they pour like half the fucking bottle of vodka in there, of course, right? And I did I think I just did vodka soda because I was so fucking thirsty. Mm-hmm. Well, me just having fun in the pool, like, I don't know, just have this set here or there. Well, next thing I know, I drank that whole thing. I am like gone to the point where my now husband was like, you were trying to get on stage with Tiesto. And we're like, you are convinced that he was your friend. And I was like, that is my alter ego for or for sir. Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, it was so bad that after that drink, I blacked out. Like, I don't remember anything that happened. All I know is that they put me in a wheelchair and asked me to leave. And I had lived a dating Kurt for like 4 months. So I was like, once I got sober and we talked about it, I was like, I'm so sorry that I put you through that. But what that whole thing went down, I ended up having to go back to the hotel room, and they were just feeding me gluten-free bread and like trying to just sober me up. So I didn't die. And, the next day I felt so much shame. I am so sorry. Like, this was not me trying to get blackout. It was genuinely like a environment issue. But, I told Kurt, I was like, I never want you to have to do that and see me like that then. And take care of me like that. Like, he was scared, He was like, oh my God, like, what do you have to bring him to the hospital or whatever? Yeah. And I stopped drinking. And I think that the drinking thing, I stopped drinking for probably a solid 3 years. Like, I was just like, no, there's no positive benefit for me. And I was also in a very like,
what is it called? Orthorexia, when you're like super hyper obsessed with health to the point that it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's where I was. I was with that. Like, I didn't eat anything that had any fat on it. I was like super lean, like all the things. As soon as I came out of that really intensive, unhealthy pattern with like food and alcohol and all exercise, and I started eating food again and started intuitive eating, I started to be like, you know what? I think I want to have like a glass of wine here or there. And that was probably like COVID-ish, maybe a little bit before that. And Kurt's never really had an issue with alcohol. He's had a drink here and there, not a big deal. But I remember when I started, having a drink here or there, it was nice to be like a little cheersies once in a while, right? But now, the reason why I'm telling you this full circle, now I feel like when I have a glass of Prosecco or wine or whatever, it's for the exact reason that we just talked about, which is just like, okay, fuck it. What is life? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Celebration.
yes, it's like, but it's also like we don't have to take spirituality so fucking seriously where it's like you can't enjoy just the pleasures, if that is a pleasure, of life.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've actually started seeing like having glass once in a while as a spiritual practice of just being like, fuck's sake, let's enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have some bubbles.
Totally.
And it's so cool when I think you do have to kind of go through those like extremes, like the pendulum swing. And now you can have a healthy relationship with alcohol or whatever it is and not use it as a way to escape. But you can find like, oh, yeah, I'm good. I don't need this. It's just fun,
Yeah. I think as is everything, it's like, what's your relationship to it?
Yeah.
And, maybe in your case, it was like a relationship to food and a relationship to alcohol. And for me, it was absolutely a relationship to drugs and alcohol. That was like terrible. It's like, why did I never ask myself, like, why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah.
is it? And then, of course, here's a case of the ego. My ego just wants to tell me, well, you're a bachelor. You're in your 20s in Austin. Like, of course, that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, why am I even thinking that is the reason? Like,
Yeah.
what is my programming that has led me to just be like, oh, I'm a young bachelor in Austin, like making money. Sure. Why not go out and do drugs and alcohol and do all these things? So yeah, I had to change my relationship to everything. And of course that starts with relationship to self. Like I completely had to change the relationship to myself because I didn't know myself at all.
Yeah. I feel like you know yourself now.
I think so. I mean, I think it's a forever ongoing thing to continue to know thyself and to know your potential and know where you're going and still, as above, so below. So as you continue to rise to your highest version of yourself, I believe your ego is going to try to dig deeper down into you and hide and then come rear its ugly head some other fucking time.
Yeah.
You see the interview. I know you still got to do the work constantly, always doing the work to just keep evolving. But yeah, I know myself better today than I did 7 years ago. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a sense of like acceptance within you. Like I can feel that very strongly of like, okay, like, yeah, we have our human self. Like we don't want to like get rid of that. Like I think that's like actually the hilarious part of being alive. Yeah. Is like, okay, cool. We wake up, we realize the programming, we break out of the matrix, blah, blah, blah. But also like, we're fucking humans. And like, it's kind of funny to have an ego sometimes.
We're flipping to have that human experience.
Yeah.
So go.
Well, sometimes I want to be a bitch, Sometimes like fuck everything. Like that is what makes human, like being a human. Like you can laugh at it, like you can laugh from a higher perspective. And like you said, nothing matters. Like I remember I went on this mushroom journey and it was a solo journey. It was on Valentine's Day. So funny. And I was with my dog, just me and him in the woods, like in our kind of apartment complex. And I remember just thinking to myself, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing? Like, nothing really matters, right? Like, I had this really deep, like, visceral unknowing of, oh my God, I have been such a control freak. Yeah. I've cared so much. I've been so attached. I really been so type A to the degree that it was causing me so much anxiety. I was such a perfectionist. And I came back to my place and I remember just like either journaling or texting a friend or whatever. And I'm like, dude, nothing matters.
Yeah.
Like really nothing matters. So like you need to do what you love. Like it was such a profound like shift for me because I was in this, I think it was just this validation seeking thing because I didn't get that. I didn't get validated as a kid. So I think it was just an unmet need, and I was just leaking that everywhere. And
yeah, I think that it's like so much of that work is inner child work and figuring out your traumas from your childhood, figuring out what your programming was from your childhood, whether it's from your parents or teachers or society or those things. Like,
Yeah.
if you never take the time to unwind your programming, how are you ever going to reprogram yourself? And that's all it takes. We're just these machines in the matrix. And so we can program ourselves to do whatever. You can also just change your beliefs because you decide to change them. Like, it doesn't have to be this big political thing or, something about your ex or this, or you can just change your beliefs. Like, that's all it takes.
It is cool to think.
And I always my wife and I very much prescribe to what are the fruits? If your beliefs are bringing great fruit to you and your tree is producing great fruit, then perfect. Stick with those beliefs. But if your beliefs are bringing negativity into your life and making your life miserable, maybe it's time to just change your beliefs and see what happens. Like, it's really that simple sometimes. People just want to stay attached to their beliefs. Like, no, this is the way it is. This is what I believe. I'm sticking my foot in the sand. And it's like, all right, well, cool. How's your life?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I had 2 questions, and I don't want to forget this first one. What was your inner child like? Or what were you like as a kid, aka what's your inner child like?
The stuff that's I've unpacked already with it is my biggest thing was I was kind of put into a sports box. So
Okay, wait, let me ask this question again then. Who are you? Who was you as a kid? Like your essence. So we're essence.
My essence was incredibly creative. It's no surprise. Like, I have a creative studio. Like, when I look back, I did not want to be in a classroom, but because I was highly intelligent, but also highly creative, my parents, specifically my dad, could only see me through one perspective, and that was, you're very athletic and you're very smart. You should be getting good grades and you should be playing sports.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing, oh, Logan, I remember certain projects that I did, or I was in a photography class my senior year that I literally just lived in the dark room. It was the creative room. The yearbook was there, the newspaper was there, and the photography room was there. And I did my best to do everything to just be in that classroom all the time, my junior or senior year, or whatever it was.
I was the same.
Yeah.
I lived in my art classroom.
I just wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And then there was no other outlet for that, or no exploration of that, or no influence that was saying oh, let's do this with Logan. Let's see what this is like for him. It was just a very simple, get good grades, go to college, or play sports to get a scholarship. That's it. Yeah. So that's what I'm grateful for now. I can look back at that experience and be like, okay, that sucked, whatever. But now I get to be 42 and be creative.
Yeah.
And you think maybe 43? Yeah? I don't even know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I get to be
You're at least 42.
Yeah. I get to have this cool little space where I'm literally doing what I would have loved doing, coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's funny. I think I heard this. I wish I could credit whoever said this because it changed my life. But they were like, whatever you used to do as a kid, before the world told you who you had to be or your parents, whatever you would find yourself just immersed in as a kid, when you tap into that in adulthood, that is what is your real, that will be the path that will explode you in all the ways.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I forget what I was doing, in business, in entrepreneurship at the time, but I heard that quote and I was like, holy shit. And I thought back, I'm like, what did I do as a kid? And I was like, well, I pretended to be on TV. I made dance, music videos in the living room. I built Legos. I loved building shit and designing things. I would take photos. I did photography. I would be outside, and I was highly creative, very artistic. And I'm like, oh, interesting how all those things are kind of full circling. With the show, with everything I'm doing, I'm like, oh, the body, entrepreneurship. I think about business building like Legos. There's things we're building and stacking, and I'm like, it's always been there. Yeah. Though it's if you go back to the inner child, there's the inner child is so smart.
I know.
Yeah, it's your business is a vehicle for that to be expressed.
Well, as a child, you're so much closer to the pure source where you came from. So you're not polluted yet.
Yeah.
And so everything that you felt and want and need and are attracted to back then, that's the purity. That's the good stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even after clothing, I remember loving textures and colors and being super expressed. And then, you know, I went to architecture school and everyone wears black. Glasses are black. Like, no, I don't need to be, you need to fit in. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be cool. Did that. And then started to refine color and texture and pattern and everything. And I'm like, oh, then your child's coming out again. You know, and then everyone's like, oh my God, this. And I feel like that's like your truest expression.
I mean, my inner child came out with this studio. I mean, it came out when I decided to get to be a photographer, because that was something I look back at my high school days, and like I was the kid that always had the disposable camera. Like I was the one who made the big corkboard collage of photos on my wall, you know, like putting in the time to do that. And then in 2018, I become a photographer. I leave the fitness industry to become a photographer. And then, you know, this studio happens all serendipitously. And then I'm looking back at, I recently kind of put the pieces together of this too. I was telling one of my clients, because I'm like close with them, they're like friends. And I'm like, one of my biggest traumas from childhood days was my dad, bless his heart, wanted to, when we moved into our home, when we moved to Portland, he wanted to, it was like a fixer-upper, and he wanted to remodel it, and it's like, great. And he wanted to start with my bedroom. Cool, awesome. Well, it ended up being like a 3-year project, so I didn't have a bedroom in my like most formidable kid years. Yeah. And so I was sent into like the family room that's like, there's no privacy or anything, and I'm like trying to build walls with bookshelves and different things, and like making this like space be mine with like my Nintendo and my stereo and stacking it and doing this and doing that. And then lo and behold, I'm like, oh, that's literally what I'm doing in this studio, just on a nicer level. And now, like messing with electronics, designing a space that's small, making it feel comfortable, making it feel safe and it's so. Wow. I always say your trauma could be your superpower. You gotta find the silver lining of it.
Yeah, I love that. It's really cool how similar our stories are, like between both of us being in fitness, photography.
No.
Now we're both in the podcasting world. So like, it was wild being you. I'm like, I feel like I know you. You know, like it's the soul knowing.
Yeah. I mean, literally, my wife and I just had a conversation last week of the soul connections you have with other different people, and it's just there. Yeah, you just know.
She's got a instant resonance.
You said you had 2 questions. You have one more?
Oh yeah, inner child. What's the other one? I don't know, but I'll ask you this because I've been asking everyone that I've been on. I'm really interested in this concept of the discomfort zone, where it's this edge, right? That your nervous system is being expanded, but not to the point where you're, you know, putting yourself in like a freeze state or a fawn state and you shut down or something or run away. For me, the discomfort zone looks like, you know, I just ran my first ultra marathon last year. Congrats. Thank you. And I have a 30K coming up in March. And I think just scaling a business in itself is the discomfort zone forever. But I'm curious what's going on in your life that is in the discomfort zone, or is there something that you want to claim to get into the discomfort zone more?
Like I said, this year just thrust me into the discomfort zone. The product we're launching, Synced, it's definitely putting me into a discomfort zone because I've never done product development, never done design, don't know the timeline for anything. I'm being taught patience. Like, I can't remember if I told you this, but I had this idea the end of the summer of 2023. Okay. Now it's the beginning of 2025. We still don't have a product to market. We actually just had a meeting with the design team that's like doing the last bit of refinement. Yeah. It's still going to be another month or so till they refine it out and figure it out. And then even if we get a prototype and we still don't like it, then we got to go through another stage of refinement. So I'm getting a lot of discomfort with that. I'm also, there's this part of, again, it's that delicate dance of like, I want to manifest the shit out of this and it's going to make me a lot of money, but also that's not what it's all for. Sure. And so remaining in that place of like, stay focused on the process. I know this is going the way I want it to, but also it's really fucking uncomfortable because I'm putting a lot of money into it. Yeah. I want it to have a return, but I don't want that energy to be like needy for that return. You know, so that's
so much discomfort. I can like feel that, and I feel that too.
And it's one of those things too. Like I believe in it so much, and I've gotten so much feedback from so many people. And then there's also
when I saw it, I was like, yes.
There's also the discomfort of well, I got to get the product out there before somebody else realizes what I'm doing and then decides to do it. Yeah. Like, yeah, there's that fear.
Top design team, let it go.
Exactly. There's that fear a little bit. So that's very discomforting. Yeah. My wife and I are working, we're moving into a third relationship. So our second relationship is getting burned to the ground right now.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into super details of that, but that's been very uncomfortable these last couple weeks. I could probably say, and this is not looking for sympathy, last week was probably the worst week of my life. And it's all related for you. Right. That's why I love that I've had a spiritual path. I have tools. I have things to keep me, what I like to say is my middle pillar. I stay relatively grounded through the whole thing. And don't get me wrong, I've had my moments where I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But it's been, there is this sense of like pride in me that I'm like, oh, I'm handling this way different than I would have like even just 6 months ago, probably.
I wish that could have known.
Yeah.
What do you do to ground yourself and just stay in this, what is it called, middle pillar?
Honestly, lately, it's what this journey has been, the specific thing that's going on with me and my wife that is pushing us into this third stage. And she's sort of at that third stage already. And I'm like, my masculinity is getting pulled into it, which there's this fight of like, oh, I hate that you jumped in there before me and now you're dragging me in. But I know I need to be there. And like, I'm working through it. I'm gaining better understanding of myself through it. I'm gaining this perspective, but I'm like just not quite there yet perspectively and energetically, but I can feel it happening. And so it's just been this like, I think it's just a sense of, again, that awareness of like, oh, these are things that really needed to shift in me that I'm recognizing, that I'm actually able to really pull out my perspective again. I say my spiritual container has expanded, therefore my like quantum understanding of everything has expanded. Therefore, my perspective can then be pulled out as opposed to just being like right here and in it. Mm-hmm. I'm able to like pull out again because now we've expanded again. And I'm like, how do I objectively look at all these things that are going on and not get emotional about it? It's also my like next level of like finding and deepening my own masculinity of like, sure, have your emotions, have your feelings, but like be in control of them. And let them pass through you, recognize them, and move through them. And so the other part of it is that's just really what I want for myself right now. I think men sometimes, do you really want that for yourself? And are you going to do it? Like,
yeah,
it's really, again, sometimes that simple of, oh, maybe I just haven't wanted it this last couple of years. Maybe my little, let's call them outbursts that have happened, I just didn't want it bad enough that I do want to be more grounded.
Yeah.
Because now I'm telling myself that I want to be more grounded. I can even feel it in me. Like if I'm like taking a step outside of myself, even talking to you in this podcast right now, my energy to myself feels different than it would have 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And so that to me is like, okay, it's allowing me again to have that perspective of stepping outside of myself and being like, okay, what is it that's happening right now? What do I want to make happen? And how do I continue like down this path and doing this?
Yeah. So like high levels of self-awareness,
yeah,
self-inquiry.
Yeah.
And do you like journal? What do you?
I actually don't journal. It's so funny when I went to Sedona, I was like, I'm going to start journaling. And I didn't.
Yeah.
And then at New Year's, it wasn't like even a resolution at New Year's. I just happened to pick up a journal because I was like, I need to write a few. There is some stuff in my head that I need to get out.
Yeah.
But no, I don't journal. I do.
Are you a verbal processor?
I am.
Yeah.
So I'm a bunch of verbal processor. So like
create like an app.
Podcasts like this, like I'm like, this is great. Yeah. You know, obviously I've processed through a lot of it with my wife. I have a good friend now. That's the other thing I recognized in the last like year is I haven't maintained certain male friendships, and some of them needed to just like fall off, and that's fine. But I didn't really actively seek a better male community, especially like entrepreneur dads,
yeah,
who are also into spirituality.
Yeah,
you know,
so I had someone to connect you with.
Perfect. So that was something that I want to do more of this year. But yeah, I'm very much a verbal processor. I need to talk it out with a couple of people. Yeah. My business partner for Synced, it's great because we have a very personal connection as well. So like,
Yeah,
I'll call him on my commute in and we'll talk for 45 minutes about nothing business related, which I think is also great for the business.
yes.
That we're like close friends.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good. It's also just super cool to hear it from a man other than my husband. You know what I mean? Like Kurt has his own processes, but he's also like, sometimes he'll write in like the note section of his phone. He's like, he just needs like space to process. I feel like that's how a lot of men are. They just gotta go into your little.
Yeah, we just want to go to our cave for a while and be with our own thoughts. So,
Yeah. That are like, oh my God, feed something. Like, and it's just so funny how different we process.
yeah.
And as long as we process, we just need to process.
I'll go no radio, no music on my, because my commute sometimes can be 45 minutes. And if I just go silence, it's kind of like a moving meditation, but it also allows me to like process through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love this. Well, I feel like we could talk forever, but
We could.
maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
And thanks for taking time and of course all the things to be on. Thank you for your say.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing out. I truthfully, I don't get asked so many podcasts. This is really fun.
I'm so glad, and I hope that everyone comes to Authentic Exposure.
Yeah.
What's hard? We're in Austin. Is there like a specific area?
Well, you can find me. Let's do the old, what is it? Where can everybody find you?
Where can everyone find you?
So Instagram, my personal one now is Logan Paul Lepper, Lepper. Then I have Authentic Exposure Studio. And then I also have Project Synced, Project_Synced. That's for the product that's launching.
Sweet.
I think that's all of them. I try my best to keep up on all of them. But and then the aestudio.co is the website for the studio.
Cool. Yeah, we'll put that in the.
And we're basically in downtown Austin.
Yeah.
We're in a nice little nature
I honestly
builder here.
love where you guys are because I have my van and I parked in like the cul-de-sac. Because usually like my van can't fit anywhere. It's already taking up like half a parking lot. So it was nice. And yeah, it's like a 7-minute drive from like where I am in like the Zilker.
Yeah, we're like a stone's throw from Zilker Park. Like,
Yeah.
I love it over here. We're basically downtown, but we're in nature, which I love. Like, it doesn't feel like we're downtown.
No, it's so like accessible.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Bye.
Bye.